Something is happening within the Miami Dolphins organization right now that could redefine everything we thought about this team, and I tell you, it's the kind of move that separates title contenders from mere extras. But here's the twist. Not all fans are seeing the whole picture yet. Some believe this is a brilliant plan, others think it could go very wrong. And when you know the details, you'll understand why this is becoming one of the most talked about decisions of the preseason. Before explaining everything, I want to know exactly what your opinion is. Click the like button if you truly believe the Dolphins are building a championship team. And if you are one of the optimistic fans who trust in this process, comment right now, "This is our year, go Dolphins." Let's see how strong that belief is among the fans. Breaking news coming directly from Sullivan himself, who recently went on the Joe Rose show and revealed a key decision regarding rookie offensive lineman Kaden Proctor. According to Sullivan, Proctor, who was a 3-year starting left tackle at Alabama, will begin his NFL career at left guard. This is a significant shift, but one that had been anticipated internally. With Patrick Paul already locking down the left tackle position, the team saw an opportunity to maximize Proctor's versatility right away. And that's the key word here, versatility. This isn't just a random position change, it's part of a bigger philosophy the Dolphins are now embracing. Much like the Green Bay model, Miami is prioritizing linemen who can move across multiple positions. Proctor fits that mold perfectly. He's not only expected to contribute immediately at left guard, but he also gives the team insurance at right tackle if Austin Jackson struggles or gets injured again. Now here's where things get even more interesting. By placing Proctor at left guard, the Dolphins are creating what could be the most physically imposing left side of any offensive line in the NFL. We're talking about Patrick Paul at 6 feet 7 inches, 335 pounds, paired with Proctor at 6 feet 7 inches, 350 pounds. That's not just big, that's intimidating. Defensive linemen are going to feel that size advantage immediately, and it could completely change how Miami controls the line of scrimmage. But some fans are asking a fair question. Is Proctor too big to play guard at the NFL level? The data says no. In fact, when you compare his physical metrics to the average NFL guard, he not only matches the arm length but actually exceeds expectations in athleticism. His relative athletic score jumps even higher when evaluated as a guard instead of a tackle, which suggests this transition could be smoother than people think. And let's not ignore the ripple effect this move creates across the rest of the line. Jonah Savaiania, the 2025 second-round pick, is now projected to shift to right guard, his natural position, where he'll compete with veteran Jermari Salyer for the starting job. This competition could be crucial, especially considering how much Savaiania struggled last season at left guard. There's no sugarcoating it. His rookie performance was rough, and at times it disrupted the entire offense. However, there's real optimism that moving him back to the right side will unlock a better version of his game. It's where he's more comfortable, where his footwork is more natural, and where he played most of his college career. If he improves, the Dolphins suddenly have a much more stable and balanced offensive line. If not, Salyer is right there, ready to take over. And here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about one player or one position. This is about identity. Sullivan made it clear. The Dolphins want to get bigger, stronger, and more physical in the trenches. This offensive line overhaul is proof of that commitment. The average weight across the line is now around 325 pounds, putting Miami among the heaviest units in the league. That kind of size doesn't just look good on paper, it directly impacts the offense. It gives quarterbacks like Malik Willis more protection and creates better running lanes for playmakers like Devon Achane. If this unit performs the way the front office hopes, it could completely transform how the Dolphins operate offensively in 2026. And this is where things start to get even more intense when you look at the internal competition and what it really means for the future of this offense. Because moving Kaden Proctor to left guard doesn't just solve one problem, it creates pressure across the entire unit. And honestly, that might be exactly what John Eric Sullivan wants. Think about it. By locking Proctor into that left guard spot, you're essentially forcing Jonah Savaiania into a prove-it situation at right guard. There are no more excuses now. This is his natural position, the side he played most comfortably back in college, and the expectation is very clear. Either he steps up, or he risks losing his job entirely. And don't underestimate Jermari Salyer in this battle. This is a veteran who has experience, who has already shown he can step in and perform at a decent level when needed. He might not have the same upside as Savaiania, but right now, reliability matters. Especially for a team that is trying to completely redefine its identity in the trenches. Now here's something that should really get Dolphins fans thinking. Last season, one of the biggest issues with this offense wasn't just play calling or quarterback inconsistency, it was the offensive line getting pushed around in key moments. Short yardage situations, red zone efficiency, late game drives, those are the moments where physicality matters the most. And too often, Miami came up short. That's exactly why this shift towards size and strength is such a big deal. Sullivan isn't just making random changes, he's directly addressing one of the team's biggest weaknesses. He even made it clear with that now famous mindset, speed is great, but it can disappear in tough conditions, size doesn't. And if this philosophy actually works, we could be looking at a completely different version of the Miami Dolphins offense. One that doesn't just rely on explosive plays, but one that can control the tempo, dominate the line of scrimmage, and wear down defenses over 4 quarters. But let's not pretend there aren't risks here. Because moving a player like Proctor, who was dominant at left tackle in college, into a new position always comes with uncertainty. Yes, the physical tools are there. Yes, the athletic profile suggests he can handle it. But the NFL is a completely different level. Technique, hand placement, timing, those details become everything. And if he struggles early, the pressure is going to build fast. At the same time, if Savaiania doesn't improve, then suddenly you have instability on the right side again. And that could create a chain reaction that affects the entire offense. So what we're really watching unfold here is a high upside, high risk transformation of this offensive line. If it clicks, this could be one of the most dominant units in football. If it doesn't, we might be having very different conversations a few months from now. And that's why this moment feels so important for the direction of the team. This isn't just about Proctor. This isn't just about one position battle. This is about whether John Eric Sullivan's vision for building a tougher, more physical Dolphins team is actually going to deliver results on the field. And here's where the conversation takes another turn, because what we're seeing right now is not just a short-term adjustment, this is long-term planning in motion. The Dolphins are not just thinking about week 1 of the 2026 season, they're thinking about what this offensive line will look like 2 or even 3 years from now. Because let's be real for a second. Austin Jackson is still in that right tackle spot. But how secure is that position really? Injuries have been a concern, consistency has been questioned, and now with Kaden Proctor in the building, there's a very real possibility that this is more of a temporary situation than a permanent one. That's what makes this move so strategic. By starting Proctor at left guard, the Miami Dolphins are essentially giving him time to adjust to the NFL game without immediately throwing him into the pressure of protecting the edge. But at the same time, they're keeping that door wide open for a future switch back to tackle, potentially as soon as next season if things don't go as planned with Jackson. So now you have a player who can develop on the inside, build confidence, refine technique, and then possibly slide outside later as a more complete and polished lineman. That's a dangerous scenario for the rest of the league if it works out. And let's go even deeper into what this means for the identity of the offense. With this new-look offensive line, the Dolphins are clearly signaling a shift away from being just a speed-based team. In previous seasons, the focus was heavily on quick plays, explosive movements, stretching the field horizontally and vertically. But when that style got challenged, especially against more physical defenses, the offense struggled to adapt. Now, this could be a completely different story. You're talking about an offensive line that has the size to impose its will. An average of around 325 pounds across the unit is not something you just ignore. That kind of mass changes how defenses line up. It changes how linebackers react. It changes how games are controlled in the fourth quarter. And this is where players like Devon Achane could benefit massively. Imagine a stronger, more physical